The next question says, which of the following scenarios will shift the investment demand curve to the right? So 1 says business taxes increase, 2 says the expected return on capital increases, 3 says firms have a lot of unused production capacity, and 4 says firms are planning on increasing their inventories. So there's multiple answers here that are correct, and so we can take a look at which one of them are correct. 1 says business taxes increase, and so that's not going to shift investment demand curve to the right. It will most likely shift investment demand curve to the left. Business taxes increasing means there's going to be a greater strain on businesses. More of the business's revenue is going to be paid to the government, which means they're going to have less availability to invest funds, right? And so 1 is not going to be the right answer here. 2 says that the expected return on capital increases, and so the expected return on capital is going to be a determining factor for investment demand. And so if suddenly we are expecting a higher return on capital that is borrowed, then that's definitely going to shift the investment demand curve to the right, because more firms are going to be incentivized to take on those loans in order to invest in that capital. And so 2 is going to be correct. 3 says that firms have a lot of unused production capacity. And so if firms have a lot of unused production capacity, they're not going to need to do much in terms of loanable funds for investment, because they're able to simply step up their own production capacity without having to take out loans in order to increase their overall production. And so if firms have a lot of unused production capacity, that's not going to shift the investment demand curve to the right. 4, firms are planning on increasing their inventories. And so this is going to be something that is going to shift the investment demand curve to the right as well. The reason for that is because inventories are considered a form of investment, and so if firms are planning on increasing their inventories, they may need to borrow more money in order to step up their production and kind of have enough to both sell to consumers this year and also place into inventories for future years. And so both 2 and 4 are going to be correct. Let's take a look at what the previous tutor said. So the previous tutor also said 2 and 4, the expected return on capital increases, and that firms are planning on increasing their inventories. And so let's take a look at their rationale. And the previous tutor says that investments demand curves shift to the right when there's an increase in the investment demand by firms. If there is an increase in business taxes, the profit share of firms will reduce as they receive lower amounts after paying taxes. Hence, the incentive to invest and increase production output will decrease, causing a decrease in investment and shifting the investment demand curve to the left. If the expected return on capital increases, firms will want to invest a greater amount of capital to earn higher expected returns while the opportunity is available. This will increase the investment demand, shifting the curve to the right, so that's the rationale for 2. 3 says if firms have a lot of unused production capacity, they will not feel the need to invest until the available potential is exhausted, hence investment demand is reduced. And 4 says if firms plan to increase their inventories, they will have to invest a greater amount in production to inflate their output. Inventories are also considered investments, therefore the increase in investments will shift the curve to the right. Excellent, so that matches our answers perfectly, and we can say great answer, and no notes are necessary to modify that answer.